Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Intuitive Angling, and appreciate you guys checking out today's video and hanging out with me for a little bit. And guys, today we're going to be talking about the one modification that you need to do to every one of your soft plastic lures. I don't care if it's a worm, a creature bait, a lizard, a tube, anything before you fish it. You should do this every single time with every single lure before you fish it. I can guarantee that it's going to add up to more bites, more fish, and landing more fish. So we're going to get into that in today's episode. Also, guys, for get started, I'll put some of my favorite soft plastic links in the description of this video and my Tackle Warehouse link. I use primarily Zoom plastics for everything out there, probably for 95% of my fishing. I'll put the Zoom link in the description of this video and my Tackle Warehouse link if you guys would like to stock up on some of the baits I'm talking about. And also, guys, please check out my fall Fish the Moment Lake Map breakdowns, man. If you're getting ready for a fall fishing trip, this is a must-have. If you've never been to a lake before, or you want to get to some good fishing places on a lake that you fish a lot but you may not know about, these are maps I built for fishthemoment.com. It really is a good resource to learn more about your favorite lake. So I'll put that link in the description as well. Really appreciate that. Okay, guys, the old timers on Intuitive Angling, you've heard me talk about this before, but I actually did this video probably over 100,000 subscribers ago when I first started my channel. So there's going to be a lot of people that have never seen this. And the modification that we're talking about on the soft plastics is roughing up the soft plastic, breaking the salt. In other words, roughing up your soft plastics. Now, what this does, I'm going to explain to you, then I'm going to show you how to do it. Most soft plastic lures have salt in it. They're salt impregnated. The majority of them are. Some lures have more than others. For example, I consider Zoom to have like a light amount of salt in them, but a company like Yamamoto has got a very heavy amount of salt. And then other companies have, different gradients as far as how much salt is in there. But nevertheless, most all of them have salt. Now, what happens is when they pour a soft plastic lure and they're impregnated with salt, this stiffens the bait up and makes them harder. The salt being impregnated in the plastic, it takes the pliability away from the plastic, and it gives the plastic a little bit different look, and it makes them harder and firmer. You should never fish a soft plastic lure straight out of the box, given this fact here. Most people do. And by roughing this bait up and breaking the salt up in it, what it does, I'm going to show you here, it not only makes the bait more lifelike and pliable and more appealing to the fish, it makes it easier to get a hook through as far as when you're hooking the fish. And what is most important, in my opinion, is it changes the color of the bait. It gives the bait a more natural looking color, almost like the bait's wounded or hurt or something. So let me sort of show you guys what we're talking about. Okay, got my other ones here. I gotta get one more here. Let me show you before and after here real quick. I'm gonna show you, where's that? I got the wrong one there. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, I'll show you the before and after on this like 4-inch little stick bait here. Let's talk about that. Okay, now here is one out of the package. When you just buy it, just straight out of the package. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break all this salt up in it. And take your time with this, because if you have a bait like a Zoom or something like that doesn't have much salt in it, it takes a lot more effort to bring the salt to the surface. So pull them like this without breaking it. Start at one end and just work your way up. And sometimes what I do, guys, is I'll even take and I'll pick out pieces of it. Like I'll bite out little pieces of the plastic to make it look even more wounded. I'm going to break that up. See, it just took me a couple seconds. Now here's what the worm, this is the same one. This is what it looked like out of the package. And here's what it looks like after you break the salt up in it. Notice the difference there? Doesn't even look like the same bait. This right here, if you're a bass, now you tell me, guys, you're a bass, which one of these baits looks better to you as far as the natural looking like that or one like this? It looks more wounded in the water. It has more of a glow in the water. And what happens is this bait is made a lot more softer. So you got a lot more action in it now since the salt's been broken up. So like in this one, when it's falling through the water, it's gonna vibrate more and it's easier for you to hook through. It's easier to set the hook. That's what you need to do on it. Now you can do it with any single bait. Every single bait out there has got this. You can take, like the Z-Craw Junior here, or the Z-Craw, And you can do the same thing. And like I said, this zoom here doesn't have near as much salt in it, so it's a little bit different. But you can see what it does to it. It just sort of breaks it up a little bit, softens it up, makes it a lot more pliable. I also do this on my jig trailers as well. Every single one of them like that. Even like the darker ones too. You can take the darker ones, break it up. Once you do this, guys, once you start fishing them like this, you'll not go back. When you rig one up, you're gonna say, God, that thing looks stiff and hard in the water. I'm gonna do that. But notice even on the dark ones how it makes the salt come out even on the dark ones like that. But anyway, guys, that's just a quick tip that I wanted to share with you guys on roughing those soft plastics up. When you're talking in terms of things that you can do to maximize the amount of strikes that you get and maximize fishing, a lot of it has to do with little details like that. I am a real stickler for details because you can just take about any bait out of the box and you're going to catch fish. But the difference is when you talk about modifying a lure and you're talking about different ways to work a lure, or the different type of hook sizes, or the different type of sinker sizes, or different type of line sizes, all of that contributes to getting more bites and maximizing the area. So let's say, for example, we're out plastic worm fishing and you take a worm straight out of the box, and then you've got that worm on 17-pound test fluorocarbon line, and you've got it on a 1/4 ounce sinker or 5/16 ounce sinker with like a 3 or 4 aught hook in it, and you're just out there working it normal. Yeah, you can probably catch some fish like that, but by tweaking it and modifying it and paying attention to the subtleties of the details, one of us may be in the boat with like that rig that I just told you there with the plastic worm, but I may take like a plastic worm, and number one, I may go to a little bit different color. I rough the bait up to give it a little bit different look. I may, instead of throwing a 5/16 ounce sinker that you're throwing, I may go down to an 1/8 ounce sinker. You're throwing a 3 or 4 aught hook, and I go down to a little 2 aught hook that makes it, a lot less obvious in the worm. And I'm using 12-pound tests instead of 17. So throughout the course of the day, you may catch 5 or 6 fish, and I may catch 15 or 20 fish, or 10 or 15 or whatever, with those slight modifications. So one of the things that people don't pay enough attention to in bass fishing is the attention to detail. Every single one of those aspects has an influence on it. It's like you have got to really identify every single aspect of any lure that you're fishing to get the most out of it. That's what separates really good anglers from just average anglers. Say, for example, if you're fishing a crankbait and you're throwing a chartreuse-sided blackback crankbait, sometimes, that's the color they want, but sometimes instead of like a real bright chartreuse side, maybe they wanted a faded chartreuse side, or maybe they want a translucent chartreuse side. And instead of a black back, maybe they want a blue back. And a lot of those variables are determined by the water clarity, the light intensity, the sunlight angle, the time of day, the wind. All those things factor into it. That is why, I'm always saying that bass fishing is the most difficult sport in the world, because of those endless amount of variables that you have with it. But here's how you get good. Let me give you guys some tips and advice on how you really get good as a bass angler. Number one, it's very important to, when you're learning and you're trying to become a better angler and maximize your efficiency as an angler, when you get into an area that there's bass there, and let's say you're fishing, a stretch of boat docks or a rocky bank or a grass line or something like that, and you're catching a few fish. Say you're catching a fish maybe every 10 minutes or so down this stretch. This is the prime situation for you to experiment in, and this is when your learning and your ability to grasp some new concepts and new techniques are going to really increase, because there's fish here. So it's a perfect environment to experiment. So this is what I do, and this is one thing that has really accelerated my experience, my success in fishing, is when I'm fishing, especially if I'm just practicing or fishing for fun, and I know there's some fish in an area, that's when I'm digging through my box, guys. It's like if I'm catching them on a certain crankbait, I'm going to try 3 or 4 different crankbaits to see if they want another crankbait better. Or if I'm catching them on a crankbait down really good on an area, I may go to a jig or a chatterbait or something to see if they want something different. That is how you figure out what they want. And also that's how you figure out new colors. Let's say, for example, again, we're on a riprap bank and you're catching, you make one pass down this long riprap bank and you've caught 3 fish on a sexy shad pattern crankbait. This is a perfect example to how you figure out the different colors and the best colors they want. You got some colors in your box that maybe you've never tried and you think they could work. Go back down that riprap bank where you know there's some fish there and throw a different color. That's how you get confidence in something that you don't know before. Because what happens is most people get locked in to what I call the herd mentality in bass fishing. And the herd mentality is they buy some baits at the tackle store, and most baits that you have at the tackle store, you know which ones are the popular sellers because the pegs are empty. You know that your green pumpkin worms and your crawdad crankbaits and your sexy shad crankbaits and your blackback chartreuse sided crankbaits, they're going to be sold out a lot, or they're going to be low on the SKUs. This is the herd mentality because this is what the fish see all the time. So instead of throwing that green pumpkin worm, go to something like a 420 or go to something like a watermelon with different flake in it. And instead of throwing that popular color crankbait out there, modify it. Paint some red gills on it. Paint some little puff of chartreuse on the tail of it or something. Give it a different look, because one of the best things in bass fishing is when you come up with a color that nobody else is fishing. And I do that a lot. I've got more fingernail polish. I own more fingernail polish than most women do because I use fingernail polish to modify my lure colors all the time. And it makes a big difference because I can create lures I know fish have never seen before. So I know we got off in left field there as far as the video title, but it goes back to roughing up those soft plastic. It's the attention to detail. It's the little things that's going to make a difference between you catching a certain number of fish and catching more fish. So hope it helps out, guys. Just some things I've learned down the road there, and we'll check in later.